Hello friends, family, anybody that's tuning in. I want to say I appreciate you coming and taking the time to listen to what I have to say. I'm not sure exactly how long this video is going to be, but it's something that I've been wanting to get out, and I thought, you know, what could I possibly do as my first video? Something that I am extremely passionate about, something that I know a lot about, and that is being pro-life, why I'm pro-life, and why I am 110,000% against abortion. Stay tuned. And hello. So first, before we go any further, if you would please give me a thumbs up if you like what I have to say today. Subscribe and hit that little red bell so that way you know anytime I upload a video. I'm really going to try to do at least one a week. I may get into more than that, but right now I want to do at least one a week. So the one thing I wanted to say basically is my testimony. You know, the Bible says that we are supposed to go out, tell everyone about Jesus, and we're also supposed to share our testimony so that others can see how God has blessed you or blessed us, right? So I got to thinking, what could I possibly share with you guys that I know everything about? And that's my testimony. Why I am pro-life. Well, I have to go like way, way back. And the very first 3 times that I became pregnant, I lost those babies. Not by any fault of my own. The very first baby that I was pregnant with, it was just a miscarriage. No reason, no rhyme, no reason. 3 months hit, boom, I lost the baby. The second time I got pregnant, I was pregnant with twins. Come to find out, they were identical. At 6 months, a little over 6 months, I developed a horrible, horrible infection, and I lost those babies. They were Jacob and Joshua. So I know one day I'll see these babies again in heaven. I actually was able to hold one of my babies before I lost the other one. And it took a long time to get over that one for sure, because you're holding this tiny little baby in your hands and you think to yourself, gosh, you know, life is so precious, but it can be taken from you like that. So it took me a long time to get over that. And then I got pregnant again, and I was hoping that God would see to it that I was able to carry that one to full term. Unfortunately, I lost that one as well. That was due to a blighted ovum. A blighted ovum basically means that the sperm and the egg will connect, but you never basically conceive. Even though your body thinks that you are pregnant, the baby nothing ever fertilizes. It's basically a dead egg. So I lost that one in 3 months. And so here I was, 3 pregnancies, and you would think, you know, honestly, you would think, Lori, honestly, how could you possibly keep trusting in God that He is going to provide you a child? Would you not have possibly at that moment thought, I'm never going to be a mother? Even though that was always my heart's desire, unequivocally, to be a mom. And lo and behold, I got pregnant a 4th time. This time I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And it wasn't that I didn't before, because I've always been a Christian all my life. But I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, and I thought to myself, God, please, I just really don't think that I can go through another loss. And you know, the Bible does say that God will only give us so much as what he thinks we can handle. And I knew in my heart of hearts, I could not handle another miscarriage. Just couldn't do it. So I thought to myself, I've just got to trust in him. I just have to let him guide me and have full faith that everything's going to be okay. And do you know, that was the case. Everything was fine. It couldn't have been a more perfect pregnancy. And in February 18th, 1991, I had a beautiful 7.5 pound, 21.25 inch long baby boy. Which now is 29 years old. I'm not going to go any further because then I'm going to give away my age. Only my closest friends know my age. Anyway, so about, a year or so later, I got pregnant for the 5th time. Now keep in mind, this would have only been, 2 living babies at this point. So I prayed and I said, you know what, God, I just need this to happen. I'm not even going to try again. But I knew in my heart I wanted 2 children. Whether it was 2 boys, whether it was 2 girls, a boy and a girl, it didn't matter. I just knew I wanted 2. I was destined to be a mom to 2 kids. So this pregnancy, and this is where my testimony really kicks in. I just want to say that before I go any further, because I had a very harrowing experience, and I'm fixing to share it with you. When I found out I was pregnant, I went to the doctor, of course, like any other woman, and I found out I was 3 months pregnant. Lo and behold, there was another underlying issue that I had no idea was there. And I never had this problem before. But they found a spot on my cervix. And plus too, they did a pap smear, and it showed that I had pretty fast growing cancer cells developing on my cervix. The doctors at the time had mentioned I might want to consider abortion because of the type of fast growing the beginnings of cervical cancer, that, trying to get pregnant, I could either lose the baby or, down the road, it could be very, very life-threatening for me. Well, I looked at that doctor and I said, there's no way. I'm not going to abort my baby. He said, okay. He goes, it's your decision. I said, that's exactly right. It's my decision. So at 5 months, and granted, they were watching me very, very closely. And at 5 months, they checked me again. And at this point, the cancer cells had grown, I believe, if I remember correctly, they were like, quadrupled. So they were really, really growing pretty fast. Again, still, I was not scared. I was not afraid. I kept my faith and my trust in God that he was going to make everything okay. So at 7 months was the first time I tried to have my baby. And I did find out she was a girl. So I was, of course, ecstatic. I was elated. I couldn't be more happy because I already had a boy. Oh, and joy, I'm going to have a girl now. So you can just imagine how I was feeling at that point. So at 7 months, again, I tried to have her by no fault of my own. There was an underlying issue, and I'll get to that in a minute, but the doctors put me in the hospital, gave me all kinds of medicine trying to stop my labor, and it was successful. It was. I went back to normal, quit having contractions, everything was fine, and I was like, whew. Got past that one. That was a close one. So the doctors basically told me at that point, because I was high risk even my first pregnancy, and then here I am with my son, and here I am with my daughter, and I'm really high risk. So they told me, you are not allowed to lift anything, do anything. You must stay home, try to stay off your feet as much as possible. And I'm like, seriously, I've got a toddler at home and you're gonna tell me that I need to stay off my feet? I'm just like, okay, not gonna happen. So anyway, I decided that, okay, God, I need you more than I've ever needed you in my life. The doctors are telling me that I have got to stay off my feet, blah, blah, blah. Even though God already knew all this stuff, right? I'm telling him, you know, basically out loud, so that way I can just know for myself that, you know, me and God are talking. We're having a little chat. And I said, you know what? No matter what happens, God, I'll accept it. But I really, really, really prefer that you save my baby.